On August 24, 2003, Gil De Ferran would announce his retirement after the 2003 IndyCar Series season after months of speculations of his future and the future of the number 6 Marlboro Team Penske Toyota machinery. But why? He just got into IndyCar in 2002 full-time after racing kart full-time from 1995 to 2001. But how did we get here? Why did he retire from IndyCar racing so soon at the age of 35 when he had plenty of years of winning more races, championships, and even Indy 500 races? And what has he done after retiring from IndyCar racing? How did the rest of his 2003 races win after his announcement to retire? All those questions will be answered on the 62nd episode of Racing Stories. With that being said, let's begin. So, to answer one of the questions, how did we get here in Gil's IndyCar career? Gil De Ferran made his IndyCar debut for the 1995 kart season in the number 8 Penske Mercedes for Jim Hall Racing. For 2 seasons, winning his first career win at Laguna Seca in 1995, finishing 14th in points, winning Rookie of the Year after scoring 2 podiums. In 1996, despite being rumored to race in Jackie Stewart's new Formula One team, which was called Stewart Grand Prix Formula One team, he would stick around in kart and still race for Jim Hall, but with Mercedes engine instead of Honda. Gil was a competitive racing winning contender, but he would only score a single win at Cleveland and 4 podiums, finishing 6th in points. A much improved sophomore season. From 1997 to 1999, Gil De Ferran would race for Darrell Walker's Walker Racing Team, Reynard Honda with Valvoline and Cummins as a sponsor. Despite racing for Walker Racing for 3 seasons, he would only score 1 win at the 1999 Portland race, 13 podiums with a 2nd place points finish in 1997, 12th in points in 1998, and 8th in points in 1999. During the 1999 US 500 weekend at Michigan, Roger Penske would announce that Gil De Ferran would team up with Greg Moore to race for Marlboro Team Penske for the 2000 kart season. Unfortunately, the racing world will lose the young Canadian and future champion Greg Moore early in the going at the 1999 Fontana race. He was only 24 years old. After the fatal crash of Greg Moore, Penske would hire Elio Castroneves for the 2000 season in a 3-year deal, replacing the late Greg Moore and teaming up with Gil De Ferran. Elio just finished the season with Hogan Racing, which was shut down due to lack of sponsors. 2000 and 2001 would be 2 big years for Gil De Ferran, finally showing his true potential. In 2000, Gil De Ferran would win 2 races at Nazareth and Portland, 7 podiums, 5 poles, and one of those poles will be a record-breaking, historical, and a speed record that will never change at Fontana.
Michael Andretti at 239.097 miles an hour. That's the target. On the qualifying run, 2 laps to go, 4 miles. Adrian Fernandez is well down in the field, 2nd in the points, 5 behind this man, Gil De Ferran. Parker already suggested flat all the way around. First lap for Gil De Ferran, 241.428 miles an hour. That breaks Mauricio Guzman's record, that breaks the closed course record, and that puts him on the pole. What a surprise that is.
Wow. I'm stunned.
Oh, and it didn't look all that fast.
No, it shows you how easy it can be if the car is exactly right, and the car had to be. And I have to tell you that whatever Honda produced for this weekend that's sitting behind Gil De Ferran has got to be spectacular. Gil De Ferran's always done the development work for Honda during the course of the race weekends, has always had the development motors. That was huge.
He only needed that one. He only took that one, and his Honda sits. California Speedway, the qualifying is complete, and Gil De Ferran just blew everybody else into the weeds as he picked up his 5th pole of the year, 11th of his career, and outdistances 2nd quick Michael Andretti for 2.5 seconds, breaking the track record and the closed course record at the same time. We show you the entire starting field for the running of the 500, round 20 of the Kart FedEx Championship Series. Here's Gary Jarrell.
And here's the man who has the fastest qualifying lap in championship auto racing team's history, Gil De Ferran. We started out this show talking about the importance of bonus points and how you've mastered that this year. What does this 1 point mean going into the showdown tomorrow to you?
I think it means a lot. You know, it puts me 1 point further ahead of Adrian, and that could mean everything tomorrow. Obviously, we don't know just yet, but it could mean a lot tomorrow. So just gotta, you know, obviously very, very happy about today, but we gotta try to calm down and see what we can do tomorrow.
It was a perfect lap. Congratulations. Now you got to try to put 250 of them together tomorrow. Good luck.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you.
Jan?
241.428 miles per hour. That speed will forever stand for the rest of time, with the fastest lap of 30.255 seconds. Not only would make headlines for being the fastest driver in town and in the sport, but Gil De Ferran would show the world once more on who's the man on top.
2 to go. 2 to go to the $1 million, potentially for Fittipaldi for winning the race. 2 to go for his first championship, and the $1 million to De Ferran. We've got a car spinning. A car into the wall. Tagliani, he had an engine let go just before it. It looks like the game may be totally over. Tagliani catches the wall. That was after he got around De Ferran. It looks like Christian Fittipaldi is going to score win number 2, and Gil De Ferran is going to take the championship. The yellow and the white flag will come out at the same time. Christian Fittipaldi crosses the line with 2 miles to go. He's followed by Moreno. Tagliani against the wall. That brings De Ferran back up into that 3rd place. Casey Mears is going to come forward right behind De Ferran as well. And Fernandez crosses the line with 1 to go, knowing that his championship has just absolutely and totally gone away. And as he comes to the line, record number of winners in a season as Christian Fittipaldi takes the win. Oh, what a day. And there is your new champion. There are a lot of people here with good reason to be happy. The one who should be happy with a 5th, but will not be happy with the lack of championship, is Adrian Fernandez, but there's still plenty to come from him.
The Hans device that he was wearing, head and neck shoulder restraint, trying to help him in the event of an impact. The adventures of all the other Honda power plants today that made this one somewhat in doubt, even to the final laps. Excuse me, Pete, let me get up here. There's nothing like it in all of sports. Gil De Ferran. I think the emotion is obvious. You've had some time to try to collect your thoughts here, and is it starting to sink in that you've just achieved a dream?
I don't know, Gary. I can hardly talk right now. It's I dreamed that all my life.
How many times this year have we talked about emotion in this sport? How many times have we seen the displays? Here comes Angela, his wife, literally her body being thrown over the top of the car to embrace her husband, and they share this magic time.
Beautiful.
If we get a chance, we'll ask him about the adventures of the day. We think back on that one yellow flag when he was so very close to the contact involving Michael Andretti and the debris. Joe, let's take you back just quickly, if we can, to that situation under yellow. When you went through the smoke, how close was it? Were you involved in contact? Was that the closest call of the day?
I tell you, the Lord was on my side today, because I thought that was it. We were gone. There was smoke everywhere. So Serbia, they started to spin, and then Michael appeared in the middle of the smoke, and I was on the brakes, off the brakes, on the brakes, off the brakes, and tried to turn it down. And I tell you, it's a very close call, but it was a fantastic day for us today. The car was really handling quite nice. I drove around the whole day, just try to wait to get to the end.
How worried were you about being able to go the distance because of what had happened to the other drivers, including your teammates, with the Honda power plant this day?
Well, you know, we always knew that this race it's a race of attrition. It's always difficult to get to the end. That's what I was telling right from when we started here, and you know, it proved that proved to be the case today. But you know, they Honda and the whole Marlboro team, Penske, they prepared these things like I have no idea. Everything run very, very smoothly all day. So
a lot of pressure lifted off your shoulders now?
I don't know.
I know you wanted to have a couple of drinks last night. It was postponed. Maybe you can have a couple now.
Thank you.
The Vanderbilt Cup, the $1 million, all to be awarded. Here's Roger Penske sharing in the ovation once again. The emotion in victory lane.
Gil De Ferran's 2000 championship season stats look like this: 2 wins, 7 podiums, 5 poles, and an average finish of 8.7. While Gil De Ferran was racing in kart in 2001, he would do some IndyCar races. Gil De Ferran would make his Indy racing debut at Phoenix, racing in Penske's number 66 car. He would start in 5th at the race, leading 3 laps, but would be in a multi-car crash with Jarrett Schrader and Mark Dismore turn 4, finishing 24th after 76 laps. Gil De Ferran would make his Indy 500 return for the first time since 1995 and since the split took place. He would finish second to his teammate Helio Castroneves, who would get his first Indy 500 win. Meanwhile, in kart, Gil De Ferran would win 2 races in a row at Rockingham, UK and Houston. And then, just like 2000, he would go back to back.
There it is, checkered flag just ahead, and Cristiano Damata wins at Surfers Paradise.
8-second interval between Damata and Andretti. Damata never letting up during that last stint. What a tremendous drive, turning consistent laps very, very fast as Paul Tracy goes up in flames.
And here is Roger Penske looking for his new champion. That's the Tracy car on fire up at the head of the pits. And watching for De Ferran now.
De Ferran, only the 4th driver in kart history to win back-to-back championships.
So Gil De Ferran takes the championship. Damata takes the win, followed by Andretti and Tagliani. De Ferran came home in 4th. Paul Tracy, who had wanted a podium finish, is going to try and cross that line.
Oh,
come on, come on, come on.
Got it.
That's all you need.
14th place for Paul Tracy the hard way.
And just what Jens Wintel, the starter, wanted was a car on fire pulling to a stop right under the starter stand. Those are the unofficial results. Cristiano Damata, who started 3rd, wins this race. And Gil De Ferran, he takes the championship. Born in France, he grew up in Brazil, now lives in Florida. Gil De Ferran is the 2001 champion. De Ferran's right there, doing everything he can. De Ferran goes high. And De Ferran takes him. And De Ferran looking for back-to-back checkered flag.
Great job, Gil. Great job. 2 in a row, man. You got a streak going.
And in his firm, steady way, Gil De Ferran has scored back-to-back championships, the 9th championship for Roger Penske.
Gil De Ferran, 2 from 2. How does it feel?
It feels amazing, Mark. I tell you, I'm so happy. It's a mixture of exhaustion, happiness, and everything else you can imagine. I mean, this team made all my dreams come true, and I'll give an arm and a leg for them. I'm a very happy man these days.
We can tell. We'll let you catch your breath, mate. Great effort this afternoon.
Thank you.
That's right. Gil De Ferran would go back-to-back and win the 2001 kart championship, earning himself yet another Vanderbilt Cup on his trophy case. And I did do a Racing Stories episode about the history of IndyCar's Vanderbilt Cup. Feel free to check that out in the description, links in the description below. After 2001, Gil De Ferran would leave kart and go full-time at IndyCar for the 2002 season, staying with the captain. 2002 was the same old Gil De Ferran who's won kart championships in the previous 2 years, winning 2 races at Pikes Peak and Gateway, finishing in the podium 7 times in 4 poles. Gil De Ferran was part of a 2002 championship fight against Sam Hornish Jr. and Helio Castroneves, but in Chicagoland, Gil De Ferran would crash after 52 laps, suffering a concussion and hairline fracture on his left wrist. Not only his championship hopes ended, but he would sit out for the season finale at the second Texas race. Max Pappas would replace Gil De Ferran for the race, which would end Gil De Ferran's 2002 season, finishing 3rd in points, 88 points behind Sam Hornish Jr., who won his 2nd straight championship. And here we are, 2003. Let's get into it. Gil De Ferran started off with a 2nd place finish at Homestead, but a troubling Phoenix race. On lap 2, Gil De Ferran would spin out on the 2nd corner, luckily saving it, but Toru Takagi would crash out of the race. But with 14 laps to go, Gil De Ferran was battling for 5th place. De Ferran made the move on the inside of Michael Andretti, but both drivers made contact entering the 1st corner, crashing hard on the outside wall, ending the race. Gil De Ferran would finish in 14th. Gil would suffer a minor fracture on his spine. Thankfully, Gil was okay and was able to move, but he would have to sit out on the IndyCar race at Motegi. Alex Barron would replace Gil De Ferran for the next race at Motegi. Thankfully for Gil, he would return to the series to race in the 2003 Indianapolis 500. Gil De Ferran would start in 10th in the race. De Ferran would have a clean race, having a clean race and a Penske perfect pit stop throughout the entire race. Gil De Ferran would take the lead on lap 170. All he has to do is hang on for the next 30 to 31 laps to win the greatest spectacle in racing. But a caution would be out for Robbie Gordon's gearbox issues. A restart on lap 176. Gil De Ferran was still leading, but then another caution would come out for Scott Sharp on lap 182 after spinning and crashing into the turn 1 outside wall. Another restart took place on 187. Gil De Ferran still hung on, but later in turns 3 and 4, another caution would come out for Dan Weldon, crashing on the outside wall, going airborne and upside down. After Scott Dixon slid while pacing and warming up his tires and brushing the outside wall and spinning, the race was finally back underway on lap 195. All he has to do was hang on to the lead for 6 more laps and prevent Helio Castroneves from getting his 3rd straight Indy 500 win, hanging on for dear life. Thankfully, Gil De Ferran will do so.
2.5 miles to go for Gil De Ferran.
I guarantee you his heartbeat is going so hard right now that his chest is probably hurting. Remember last year he lost a tire after a pit stop? Looked like he had the opportunity to win that race.
If Castroneves is going to have a chance, it would be now. He tries to get a little clean air. Doesn't work for him through turn 3. Castroneves still trying to close. De Ferran looks at the front stretch. He can see the checkered flag now. And Gil De Ferran becomes the 62nd driver to win in the Indianapolis 500. Gil De Ferran. Let's go to Jack Arute.
Roger Penske, you stand here with this victorious team for a 13th time, a first time for Gil De Ferran. What are your emotions right now?
Well, I'll tell you, watching those guys together, we just had great stops. We had great fuel economy today with the engines, which made a huge difference for us, keeping us on where we need to be. But I'll tell you, for Gil, he's tried so hard, and we let him down last year. But hey, guys, this is about our team and about our people. It's not about me. It's just a fantastic day for us, and I can't tell you how good I feel.
When you're on the radio to Gil, how worried were you about his teammate and your driver Castroneves maybe overtaking him for a record-breaking 3rd straight?
Well, I didn't like to see all those restarts because that's where you get a chance to get a bump. But everything went in our direction today. But just again, what a wonderful day.
A 1-2 finish for Team Penske. Congratulations again, Roger.
Thank you.
Gil De Ferran can now hear the crowd as he takes the Hans device off. He has the balaclava off. Gil, congratulations. And you can see just how tired. Remember, he has a back that has been ailing. Shades of 1996 with Buddy Lazier. A mixture of pain and joy as Gil De Ferran comes up out of the cockpit. Gil getting the congratulations of his crew, and a mixture of pain with the back getting out of the car, but it absolutely is spectacular to see you here.
I tell you, Jack, it's hard to describe in words what I'm feeling right now. It's such an unbelievable moment for me. You always dream of winning a race like this and say something smart, but I'm afraid words escaping right now. It's just unbelievable. And
the tears of joy. Who says this race isn't the greatest spectacle and the most meaningful race? For Gil De Ferran, getting a kiss from his lovely wife. His children now, they may be too young to realize what this means, but they are here to share the moment. Gil, now, there's the milk.
I love milk.
Wonderful.
Guys,
a tradition started many years ago in Victory Lane by Wilbur Shaw continues, and milk has never tasted sweeter for Gil De Ferran, who has won the 87th Indianapolis 500 presented by 7-Eleven. Here's the rundown.
After leading the final 31 laps of the race, Gil De Ferran would win the 2003 Indianapolis 500 in a Penske 1-2 finish, very reminiscent to the 2001 Indy 500 but in reverse. For the next 5 races, he would have 4 top 5s and 5 top 10s while having another win at Nashville.
Gil De Ferran is looking good. The yellow flag comes out. And Lazier again is the report. Check, make sure. White flag comes out. We're going to finish this one under the yellow flag. And Gil De Ferran is going to take the win for Roger Penske. And there it is. Career victory number 4 in the IRL. Bob Jenkins.
And he pulls within 14 points of point leader Tony Kanaan. De Ferran, Dixon, Castroneves, Weldon, Barron, Breck, Takagi, Unser Jr., Kanaan, and Schechter are the top 10. And finishing in 11th position, Sam Hornish Jr.
After the Nashville win, Gil's final goal for his 2003 season was to get his 3rd IndyCar championship overall, his first in the IndyCar Indy Racing League during the split era. He would fight for the championship against Scott Dixon, Elio Castroneves, Sam Hornish Jr., who was mathematically in, and Tony Kanaan. For the next 4 races, Gil De Ferran would have 2 top 5s and 4 top 10s, with the best finish of 3rd at Gateway. During the Nazareth weekend, Gil De Ferran made a big announcement. De Ferran would announce that 2003 would be his final year racing IndyCar. Despite being in his prime and being a winning contender and a championship contender and indicated to racing sport for the 2004 season, Gil De Ferran felt like the 2003 season was his time to hang it up in the sport after dealing with 2 big crashes, that it was time for somebody else to take over. While Gil De Ferran was out of the Marlboro Team Penske's number 6 car, a superstar would take over. Sam Hornish Jr., who was racing for Panther Racing at the time and was a 2-time champion as well, would be his replacement for the 2004 season. And if you want to know how Sam Hornish Jr.'s IndyCar career went, check out the Racing Stories episode on Hornish's IndyCar career, links in the description below. So with the news of Gil De Ferran's 2003 season being his last, he would do his best to make the best of it while going for the championship. For the final 3 races, Gil De Ferran would have a struggling 12th place finish at Chicagoland and a 15th place at Fontana. In Gil's final race at the 2nd Texas race, he would lead the most laps and was on his way to victory lane. Unfortunately, a huge crash would take place.
Gil's got nothing to lose, just needs to stay in front and win, as you mentioned, Paul. He needs the bad luck for Dixon to fall back to make this all happen. And he's got to be thinking inside his cockpit right now. Inside his helmet.
Big crash! Major incident. Kenny Breck getting way high up into the fence.
All right, the word from race control now is that they will roll the white flag. They will show the white flag next time around and bring this race to a close on lap 195, 5 laps short of the scheduled distance. So it appears as if Gil De Ferran will indeed win his final race of his career, as he has already announced his retirement from racing. He started on the pole, a bit of strategy involving his car and its involvement in another accident earlier. He was allowed to come in and get the car inspected, and during that time refueled, and then on his final pit stop was able to refuel the car with less time in the pits. That resulted in his getting to the front of the field and staying there until its conclusion. But the championship is going to go to Scott Dixon, who is running 2nd at this moment. De Ferran will end up 18 points behind Dixon in the battle for the IRL championships.
Yeah, Bob, we're waiting now as Gil De Ferran unbuckles. We don't know how aware he is of that devastating accident. Obviously, he saw the debris and the work on the track, and obviously this will be a subdued setting for a man who is ending his brilliant 9-year IndyCar racing career today. He did it with an NBNA pole award for $10,000 to start the weekend. Had that misadventure that dropped him deep in the pack, and here he comes now in the final time, savoring the victory. Gil, I don't know. Do you want to step out? Here we go. I don't even know where to begin, because I know there's concern for
Yes.
Kenny Brack on the racetrack, and obviously we're all concerned. But by the same token, you have done something that very few are ever able to do, and that's go into a retirement with a victory. What kind of thoughts are rumbling around in you right now?
I tell you, it's unbelievable, Gary. It's, obviously, like you said, we all, our thoughts, hopefully with Kenny, hopefully he's okay. Right now we don't know, but, certainly to finish my career with a victory is more than I could possibly dream of. So it's been a fantastic 4 years with Team Penske, and like I told Roger and the guys on the radio, it's a time that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. I've learned so much, and it's just been a wonderful thing for me and for my family.
Joe, let me take you back to early in the race when you had that misadventure there that resulted in you having to come into the pits, work on the car. When the pits were closed, they inspected it, send you out. Did you think at that time you would have any opportunity to still get back into a position to possibly win the race?
Well, at that time there was concern that there was some damage in the left rear. That's where when sort of Felipe and I were sliding down the racetrack, I think he clipped my left rear. And there was concern there because the car was a little bit wobbly, but I think that's because I had too much dirt on my tires. So after that, actually the way the fuel strategy worked out perfect for us. We were just in the back of the pack there, really no hurry at all, saving fuel. I could see the leader just there. So as soon as the guy started pitching, then I really turned up the heat there and started turning 220 laps and went for the lead at that time. So it was a very strategic, race by Roger and the whole team.
Of course, people will begin to speculate when a guy goes out on top and he wins that last race in the same year when he won the Indy 500, they're going to say, he'll be back. What do you think?
Well, I would like to say I'm still young, and I'm likely to have some itches going forward. But right now the thought is to stop altogether and pursue another way of life.
We congratulate you. We thank you for the great memories that we cherish over the years with you in your career. It's been very special for all of us, Gil.
No, I'll tell you, Gary, thank you very much. You were there for my first victory there where I had my daughter there with me.
Laguna Seca.
Laguna Seca, and I appreciate everything you've said about me over the years, and thank you, guys.
Bob?
Gil De Ferran is a class act, and we wish him the best in his retirement and congratulate him on his victory in his final race. Others retiring in victory lane, well, Ray Haroon did it in 1911 after winning the Indy 500, and so did Sam Hanks in 1957.
Gil De Ferran would win his final ever IndyCar race at Texas, and Scott Dixon would win his first ever IndyCar championship by 18 points ahead of Gil De Ferran. But none of those happy moments mattered at the moment. Kenny Brack would suffer a horrifying crash coming into turn 3 after both him and Thomas Scheckter made contact and crashed hard. Kenny Brack would have a G-force of 214 Gs, the highest G-force ever recorded by a human, thankfully beating the odds and surviving the crash. As for Gil De Ferran, he would finish his IndyCar career on top in victory lane. In 2003, Gil De Ferran would have 3 wins, 8 podiums, 1 pole, and an average finish of 5.7. After IndyCar, Gil De Ferran would go into the world in Formula 1, not as a driver, but as a management role. In 2005, the Bar Honda Formula 1 team would hire Gil De Ferran as their sports director, but would resign in 2007 due to being increasingly uncomfortable. In 2008, Gil De Ferran would form his own American Le Mans Series team called De Ferran Motorsports, owning an Acura ARX-01B with a sponsorship from Panasonic. Even though his IndyCar career was over 5 years prior, his racing career was not. Gil De Ferran would return to the driver's seat in his Acura LMP2 alongside with Simon Pagenaud. Their debut would be in Utah for the 4th race of the season. In 8 out of 11 races, De Ferran Motorsports would score 3 podiums and 2 poles and an average finish of 5.3, finishing 6th in LMP2 points. In 2009, De Ferran Motorsports would finally win some races in their new Acura ARX-02A LMP1 machinery. De Ferran Motorsports will win 4 races in a row at Long Beach, Utah, Lime Rock, and Mid-Ohio. Before the Mid-Ohio race weekend, Gil De Ferran would announce that he would once again hang up the wheel, but this time for good to focus on the ownership and presidential role, concentrating on expanding his team, returning to IndyCar as a team owner, fighting for the runner-up positions. Just like his IndyCar career, Gil De Ferran would win his final ever American Le Mans Series race as a driver in Laguna Seca. ending his racing career for good in the United States while De Ferran Motorsports finished third in LMP1 points. However, Gil De Ferran's American Le Mans Series team was shut down after the 2009 season. However, De Ferran Motorsports would merge with Luxo Dragon Racing, which is a team created by Jay Penske, the son of Roger Penske, a technology leader and racing enthusiast Steve Luxo, forming a new IndyCar team called Ferran Dragon Racing. Davey Hamilton and Rafa Matos would be drivers for the team from 2010. Davey Hamilton would only do 2 races at the 2010 Indianapolis 500 and the Chicagoland race, and Rafa Matos would race in the entire season for the team, scoring 2 top 5s and 4 top 10s, finishing 14th in points. During 2010, Gil De Ferran was part of the iconic group in development of the future of IndyCar, preparing for the new car that would debut in 2012. But before the 2011 IndyCar Series started, Ferran Dragon Racing would shut down due to lack of sponsors, which would make Tony Kanaan, who signed for the team, to find a different ride, ending up with KV Racing Technology. For the final time in his racing career, Gil De Ferran would race in the 2011 Gold Coast 600 doubleheader in Surfers Paradise, racing for the Mother Energy Racing team alongside with Jonathan Webb, finishing 9th and 13th for both races. And just like that, Gil De Ferran's racing career was over for good. For the remainder of his racing career, Gil De Ferran would be McLaren's sporting director after Eric Bollier resigned from the role. Gil De Ferran would lead the team in early 2021, but McLaren will bring him back in a consultant advisory role as part of the restructuring process. Unfortunately, on December 29, 2023 at Opelika, Florida, 2 days before New Year's Eve, tragedy would strike. Gil De Ferran and his son Luke attended a private event at the Concours Club. While racing with his son, Gil De Ferran felt unwell. Gil would pull over while dealing with his medical crisis and his son taking care of his father. Gil De Ferran would suffer a heart attack, unfortunately passing away at the age of 56. The world lost a gentleman, husband, a father, a friend, and a family member. The racing world lost a champion, a legend, a leader, and a role model. After Gil passed away, the racing world will honor the man who did so much in the racing world around the globe. Indianapolis Motor Speedway will honor the man who won the 2003 Indianapolis 500. Before the 2024 Relic 24 at Daytona, Honda Racing Corporation U.S. President David Salters would honor Gil by having some tribute decals on the Honda-related cars. Lando Norris would honor his mentor Gil by racing a tribute helmet design of his Indy 500 win back in 2003 at the 2024 Bahrain Grand Prix. Before the 2024 Indy 500 went underway, Simon Pagenaud would do a parade lap around the track in Gil's 2003 Indy 500 winning car, and Dario Franchitti would drive in Gil's 2003 Indy 500 winning car at the Goodwood Festival. Gil De Ferran has made an impact in the world of auto racing, but his 2003 IndyCar Series season would be remembered as a triumph championship fight of a farewell season. Despite not winning the championship in 2003, he showed the world that despite his injuries, he still had it in him. But what made his farewell season so special was that he ended his season in his career at the sport so another driver can continue to be successful on track. Gil De Ferran saw something in the dominant Sam Hornish Jr., thinking he is Penske material and good enough to replace him. Gil De Ferran would always be remembered as a selfless legend on track and a smart leader behind the scenes. Gil De Ferran may be gone too soon and so young, but he will always be missed and may his legacy be remembered. Hello, this is Ian the Motorsports Man here speaking, and before I end this episode, I just want to tell you all about this episode, how I came up with the idea. So back in 2022, I was watching like IndyCar highlights after each season was ended from like 2019, 2023. When I kept watching the 2003 IndyCar Series season, I saw Gil De Ferran's season being successful, and then when I found out that Texas was his last ever race and his last ever win, I thought of an idea of doing an episode of his farewell season in 2003 and how special it was. And while doing research, I could see how special it was, and I think more people need to talk about it, bring it up. Even though he didn't win a championship, he still finished his career on top. And I still remember the day he passed away. So I was at work. I used to do closing shifts. When I did my meal break from work, I went on my phone and I had like text messages from friends telling me that Gil De Ferran passed away, and I went to Discord and people were talking about the death of Gil De Ferran, and honestly the death of Gil De Ferran was such a shock. I mean, then again, a bunch of deaths are shocks, but Gil's death was honestly shocking because he was still young for his age, honestly, and it's just a very unfortunate way to go out for a legend like Gil. And I feel like honoring Gil De Ferran with this episode made this episode even more special. And yeah, and seeing like Simon Pagenaud, former American Le Mans Series teammate and employee for De Ferran Motorsports, driving his 2003 Indy 500 winning car on a parade lap, despite being out of the sport because of his concussion at Mid-Ohio 2023 practice. I thought it was so cool to see that tribute. Just so special. And drivers talk about Gil throughout the month of May. That's just special. Gil was a legend, underrated legend. He was a legend on and off track, and honestly, he deserves to get talked about more about his accomplishments and what he's done to the racing world on and off track. So I thought this episode would also help out telling what Gil did on track and off track, especially his 2003 season. Just an amazing legend on track in a racing world, and may he be missed. Of course, thoughts and prayers go out with his family, and I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching this episode. This is the end of Motorsport Man signing off, and may Gil De Ferran rest in peace. Goodbye, everybody.